What's up? Time for another edition of ACC Baseball Etc. As always, presented by Pitch Logic, the system used by players, coaches, scouts, and instructors at all levels of play, from youth leagues to the big leagues. The easy-to-use and affordable technology makes the platform accessible to every player at every level. All the metrics and features used at the highest level. You can go to pitchlogic.com for more information. I am very, very excited to be joined by an NC State Wolfpack great, Wolfpack legend. I don't know how comfortable you are with these terms. It's Sam Highfill, after a great run to the College World Series and a great career with NC State. Sam, good to see you, dude. I hope all is well. Let's start with just like this run for this Wolfpack team. I mean, that was you got noticeably emotional at the post-game presser. I'll paraphrase, but you basically said, look, if you can end the season in Omaha, win or lose, that's pretty special. What was this last ride like for you?
Right. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Daron. And yeah, it was very special. And I was kind of thinking about what I was going to say in my press conference, because I was trying to rehearse, because I knew I was going to be emotional, and I was trying to. It's hard for me to speak words at the time. But yeah, it's exactly what my thoughts were. It was, get to Omaha, and if your college career ends in Omaha, like, it's pretty good. So, it was a dream to have to host a regional in Raleigh, and then to go on the road and win a super. It would have been icing on the cake to win the national championship. Which we wish we were still there. We wish we were still playing, but can't complain about ending the College World Series.
When you look at the two losses that you guys had, I'm curious of a couple of things. How are you thinking about them now, and how did Coach Avent, the rest of the team, talk about them in the immediate aftermath? Because, look, I hear this SEC was 5-0 against the ACC in Omaha talk, and I think it requires an asterisk, right? Because those first three games of the College World Series, all walk-offs, including Kentucky over you guys. Like, these are games that they were played on the margins. They could have swung either way, which is both heartbreaking, but I think at the same time, Sam, can sort of like help you make peace with your effort as a team in Omaha. Am I right in that? Like, there's the sort of the duality.
Yeah. And it's difficult to lose those games, but you play them throughout the year, and man, we were fortunate to come out on top of so many of those. And I think a huge part of it was the back end of the bullpen, right? And so we got to a tie game after 7 innings with Kentucky, and you hand the ball to Jacob Duden, and you feel really good about yourself. And you're never going to regret having Jacob Duden or Derek Smith on the mound in that type of game. And, unfortunately, we came out on the wrong end. But, those are the guys you want to have out there. And then, again, against Florida, it was one swing really early in the game that did it. And Logan came in and did a great job after that. But, yeah, those games are so close, and it's kind of just a flip of a coin, who's going to come out on top. So, yeah, you're right. It's the same. I hate it. I hate that, the ACC didn't win a game against SEC teams in Omaha. But you're definitely right. Like, those games could have gone either way.
Yeah. This was undoubtedly a lot different than your last time in Omaha. You had this rare opportunity to play in the College World Series, pitch in the College World Series, with a few years in between, 2021 and then here in 2024. What were your, let's go back to 21 first. Was it just like a whirlwind at that point? Did you really have any clue what you were going through?
No, yeah, it was it went by so quickly, and we were there for a while because we were 2-0, and back then it was a longer format, so we had 3 days off, and then you played game 3, and we thought we were going to be there for another day or two, and then all of a sudden you go home. But yeah, this year I was able to kind of slow things down a little bit more, and just really enjoy it for what it is.
Is there, try to follow me here, is there something to, like, the first time you go, you're pretty, I mean, like, you're early in your career, and even though you guys graduated a lot of talent, sent a lot of talent through the draft from that team after that season, there had to be at least a feeling, yeah, man, we could do this again and again, and maybe again. How did you view your role on this team, especially with the younger guys? Because you guys had I thought all year long, a really cool mix of experience and youth. Like, did you see it as part of your role to communicate to guys like Duden, hey, this doesn't happen every year. Like, in fact, like, you might not get here again, so take it in, right? Did you find that, like, did you lean at all in that direction? Was it intentional? Did you find that as part of your role?
Yeah, I tried to communicate that to everybody. Like, even before the super regional, it was like it is so hard to get to a super regional. It is so hard to win a super regional. And I stand by, like, the best feeling I've ever felt in the world is dogpiling. Like on the field in Arkansas in 21 was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life. And so I just wanted those guys to be able to experience that in Georgia. And I explained to them, like, you never felt anything like it. And so I was pumped that those guys got to experience that feeling. And then you get to Omaha, and Coach, he had a really good quote. I don't know if you heard it. He's like, Omaha is the one thing that you can oversell, and then the kids get there and they think you undersold it. And it's so true. Like, it's just baseball paradise, baseball heaven. And I think the team, like, took a step back and was like, man, this is cool. But that was definitely, I was trying to communicate all that, because you're right, it's not that easy.
Yeah. Who was that presence in 21 that maybe got that message across to you, or tried and successfully or unsuccessfully?
Well, it had to have been Coach, because he's the only one that had been before in 2021. Everybody else, it was their first time, and so we were all experiencing it together. And so that was special. But there wasn't really anybody that was like, man, it's hard to get here. We were just happy to be there.
Yeah. That makes sense. You had 2 great outings in your 2 Omaha starts, and I mean, what, seven innings each time. I asked about sort of generally the experience, how it differed from 21 to 24. You went through a lot in between. So, like, how was Sam, the pitcher, a different man when he took the hill, just in this last week, as opposed to in 2021?
Oh, completely. Young. I was a young freshman, and not necessarily a leader, just part of the team, part of the rotation, and got injured the following year. Took probably 8 months to recover, and then so in last year in 23, I really had to build back up with whatever I had, because I started throwing in December or January, like late December, early January. So I didn't have any time to, like, adjust. It was just pretty much whatever I had was going to be me for the year. And so it was hard to, I didn't get off to a great start. And then I kind of steadied it a little bit towards the middle of the year, but then it was rough. Like I got back into the rotation at the end of the year last year, and it was rough. Like wasn't pitching as well as I wanted to. Like mentally, I didn't know if I was in the right spot. And so then this year, like just I worked on that a bunch. I worked on myself. I worked on my mindset. And then I just tried to enjoy playing baseball for one more year because I didn't know if I was going to play pro ball. I still don't. I'd love to. But that's not completely up to me anymore. So it's just trying to be grateful for every experience. And, every time out there, I was playing like it could be my last. So I think, just a little bit of perspective is a huge difference.
Yeah. I've got a couple of follow-ups based on some things that you said there. One, of course, is pro ball. We'll get to that. I think of you, I think of Logan Whitaker, who has been on this journey with you and battled through a lot injury-wise. Like, I think we all get the high points, right? You talk about dogpiling. We know what those are, and we can imagine what those feel like. I think, and if you don't mind me asking it this way, I think it would be productive to ask, like, what was the lowest point, and how did you keep yourself motivated and thinking and acting positively?
Yeah. Last year, probably 2/3, maybe halfway through the season, I was in the bullpen. I had a couple of rough outings in a row. And Coach Chrysler called me into his office, our pitching coach. And he just asked me, he's like, dude, are you okay? Like, no, I kind of broke down a little bit. I was like, man, I don't know. It was so difficult to go from where I was at, so high up in Omaha in 2021, and then get hurt, see all my buddies get drafted that were in the same class as me, and then go back to school and just struggle. But then, he just reminded me that it's a game and it's supposed to be fun. So just enjoy it. And I think I was able to. So I went and played summer ball this past year just because I felt like I hadn't played baseball in a low stakes environment in years. And I just wanted to get back to that. And so I think that helped clear my head a little bit going into this year.
I like that a lot. The summer ball environment this far into your career is, like you said, a lot of guys that get as far into a collegiate career as you don't really do that, right?
Yeah.
So like you had to be the older guy on the summer ball team. I'm curious, but like, what was that like?
It was interesting. Well, I was up in Cape Cod, and there were a few like juniors who were up there before the draft, but there was a lot of freshmen and sophomores, and
yep.
I didn't necessarily feel out of place, but I knew I was older than most of them. But it was kind of twofold. It was kind of I want to get back to just like enjoying playing the game, and then also I was trying to kind of reinvent myself. I started throwing from a lower arm slot, and that kind of brought with it a new arsenal of pitches. And so I was trying to figure all that out too.
Yeah, which maybe sort of goes into asking about pro ball and your prospects there and your hopes there. How much of the redefining yourself from a pitching perspective was about, okay, I just got to find it again? And how much of it maybe was, because these are things we all, as if I'm a major league prospect, you guys all think about, right? It's human nature. You start thinking about, okay, how can I improve my draft stock? How can I improve my chances at doing this? So I think it's fair if it's a breakdown of both, right? Like, hey, I just want to pitch well enough to where I'm enjoying it again and feel good about myself again. Or, hey, I've gotten this kind of feedback and I need to maybe become this kind of pitcher. Like, how did that slice up?
Yeah, it was mostly just for myself because we're all competitors at this level. And I'm a competitor and I hate losing. I hate getting beat. And I felt like my stuff, like pitch quality, was not as good as it had been. And I didn't really know what I had to do to get back to it. But I liked the idea of there's this whole idea of vertical approach angle and release height. And I've always had good carry on my fastball. So I felt like if I could throw from a lower arm angle, I could get better. I could get the same amount of carry, but it would play better because it's coming from a lower arm slot. And so it was really just like, I want to get back to dominating, and what's the best way to do that? And that's what I came up with. So there was part of me that last year was done with college baseball and just wanted to get drafted. And fortunately, it didn't work out because if I had gone last year, I wouldn't have gotten to experience this year.
I'm glad to hear you correct yourself in that manner. That's great. So where's your head at? What are you being told with playing professionally now? Right? Is it, as you said, it's not up to you anymore. It's in other people's hands. Have you been given indicators as to what might happen?
Yeah, I talked to our coaching staff, and they talked to a bunch of the scouts, and they're calling them and telling them that I want to play and they need to draft me. It doesn't mean it'll happen, but I think there's a decent chance that somebody will at least sign me, and I hope, and maybe we can, if I can just get a chance, like that's all I want.
Yeah. Has there been sort of mental adjustments with that in mind? I think anybody who goes to college to play at a high level, and certainly somebody who has the freshman season that you had, it immediately becomes, okay, it's not out of this realm of possibility for me to be not just a draft pick, but a high draft pick and a big time prospect. And again, I say this knowing that it's human nature for you guys to think about these things. Then to go through what you've gone through, I'm wondering how you went about adjusting your mindset to where now it sounds like you're obviously you want to play, but the reality, and you sound comfortable with at least the possibility that you're not drafted, you got to sign a free agent deal, that sort of thing. Like, at what point did you get comfortable with that? Because again, you mentioned being a competitor. I know you, like, after your freshman year, there's no doubt in my mind you were thinking, okay, I can be a pretty high pick and get to the bigs pretty quickly.
Yeah. We had a conversation on Team USA. We were doing a first to third chat.
Yep.
You were interviewing me, and at that point I was like, I had big dreams for the future. Like, if I come back and have a really good year, it could, like, ceiling could be as high as like second or third round. And then to get injured, and that kind of, I was like, well, maybe I come back next year and still be a top 10 rounder if I have a good year. And then I wasn't. And so it was really like this past summer, I was like, I've got a degree in finance. I wanted to come back and play another year. So what do you want to do with it? Like, if I'm not going to play baseball, what am I going to do? And so I settled on a business analytics certificate because I like the analytics side of baseball. Once I'm done playing, I think like working in a front office would be really neat, being on the analytics side of things. So I just kind of, did my certificate and played college baseball, and you just see what happens. But sometime in the last 12 or 16 months is just, it is what it is. You can't look back on the past and wish something else had happened. It is what it is.
Yeah. If I can dig here a little bit, Sam, like at what point was there a conversation with somebody, maybe like a Coach Avent, because that's a hard thing to get to stick mentally, when you have sights set on things going down a certain way, and then reality takes course in a different way. What was there like a moment, like a light bulb moment where you're like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna this is the reality for me, I'm gonna roll with it, and if it happens, awesome. If not, we're gonna take what's given and do the best with it.
Yeah, it was probably more gradual than just a moment, but always talking with my family, my parents, my older brother, my roommates, even, who, like, 3 of them this year are seniors, and they're not going to necessarily play pro ball. So, like, what are they going to do going forward? And we just have those conversations, and just I don't know. You figure it out one way or the other when the time comes. But
yeah. I think that's the more common occurrence. I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah.
What has your relationship become with Elliott Avent? Because when we talked in the, you mentioned Team USA over that summer. Obviously, it was a newer relationship for you than it is now. I know the bond was still strong at that point. How's it different now?
I mean, man, like, what he's done for me, for my baseball career, for everybody, like, he loves every player that comes through here. Doesn't matter if you're here for 1 year, if you're here for 5 or 6. He loves all of us, and he treats us like his kids. He doesn't have any kids. He treats us like his family, and he's always there. He's the guy you can call if anything's going wrong. You hope you don't have to, but that's what he is. He does everything. Not only is he a good coach, he's just a wonderful person, and he's always had my back. Even when things weren't going my way, always. He's always backed me up, giving me confidence to go back out there. So,
yeah. All right, I feel like I've been doing some of the touchy-feely stuff. This has been kind of heavy. We need to lighten it up with something. Your lifetime batting average in Omaha is 750, right? You're 3 for 4. Did it come up at all? Did it come up at all? Hey, coach, I'm just saying I hit well here. I could maybe get us a couple knocks during this past trip to Omaha, or your 2-way days long.
Oh man, it came up the fall afterwards, but after I hurt my back in 22, I took like no rotation, nothing. So like I wasn't even like hitting fungo ground balls. I wasn't running for a while. I tried to hit a round of BP this past fall, like on the field just for fun, like not a practice setting. And it was horrible. So, no, I need to protect the 750 average.
Yeah, protect it. That's a good way to put it. I'm gonna stick to Omaha again because you've had this unique relationship with this place, being able to visit as a participant in the College World Series, both as a young guy and as a more experienced player. Can you even like begin to describe? You sort of got into it a little bit earlier, but like what the feeling you get being there and playing there. Because I was there for the first weekend as media, and it was a first experience for me in Omaha. So, like I get off the plane, the airport's pretty close to the field. This was on media day after everything had wrapped up for you guys. And I was just like, well, I'm just going to go anyway. Right. And I like literally was carrying my stuff straight off of the plane and was like, okay, I'm going to walk around the stadium. So I get to the statue and it's just like, I had to text my brothers and I was just like, dude, I'm like getting emotional. This is cool. Like, so I can only imagine you're pitching in front of 25,000 in that scenario. What's it like from your vantage point?
It's a very fulfilling feeling. Like when you walk in that stadium, it's like, this is what every fall workout and inter squad scrimmage and practice, every spring game, this is what you work towards is to get here. Because if you get to Omaha, you have a 1 in 8 shot of winning a national championship. And it's the biggest stadium you're going to play in unless you make it to the major leagues. So like throw everything else out the window. It's just a great experience. And I mean, yeah, like it's also weird because I noticed the same thing in 21 and 24. Like the nerves in the super regionals and the super regionals are way higher, and you're not playing in front of as many people. Like you just like there's so much pressure. Like you feel so much pressure. Like, man, like I don't want our season to end before we get a chance to go to the College World Series. But then once you get there, you just kind of relax and you just have like, I feel like most of the guys were just loose, relaxed, and you just play hard and see what happens.
That's interesting. I wonder if that, like you said, is a feeling of, obviously when you're there, you're trying to win a national championship, but it in and of itself is such an accomplishment that you can just kind of say, okay, we made it here. Now we're just going to give it hell. And if it happens, great. If not, it's been a good ride.
Yeah. I mean, I guarantee you if we were playing this Saturday, Sunday, Monday, this series, I would be nervous as whatever. Yeah. But that opening day, like I just like, especially because I had done it before, like I was able to just like stop and like give it a 360 and like be like, man, this is cool.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, let's wrap with this, Sam. What, as you prepare, hopefully, for a pro career, what do the next several weeks look like for you? How are you approaching it? Obviously still throwing, working out, that sort of thing. Anything else tucked in there?
Nah, just throwing, working out, maybe a few weekend trips to the beach. Got one coming up actually, and then some youth baseball camps, probably try and make a little money.
Nice. I love it. Okay. One more for you. You, by the time your Wolfpack career finished up, by the time you started this past season, had garnered the nickname the Mayor. Is that something that like you take pride in? Does it and why? How do you describe, like if I was to walk up to you and say, hey, somebody just told me they call you the Mayor, why? Like I get it. It's sort of the aura of the nickname, right? But if you were explaining it to someone who had never heard you referred to as that before, how would you say to that person, okay, this is why they call me the Mayor?
It's a crazy story, and it goes back to that 2021 season. I can't remember which game it was after. I think it might have been after the 3-for-4 game, because I had gone 7 innings the day before and then got 3 hits the next game. And some like NC State guy, I can't remember who it was. I feel bad because he deserves the credit for it. I can't remember who it was. He like was tweeting at the mayor of Apex and was like, you gotta get this guy a key to the city. Like what he's doing is unbelievable. And I'm like, that's funny. Anyways, the Mayor Gilbert, Apex, invited me over to his office, and this was a couple weeks after the season had ended.
And for those who don't know, Apex, North Carolina is your hometown. So, and nearby.
Yeah, correct. Mm-hmm. And he gave me like it's a big key. It's not an actual key, but it's a key to the town of Apex. And somebody was like, man, like, you're the mayor of Apex, like, and it just stuck. So that's how it got there. There are much worse nicknames, so I'm not complaining at all.
So you actually have a giant key. You have a key to the city.
I do.
Using air quotes.
Yeah.
What do you do with something like that?
Hang it up. Right now it's hanging in a different room, but it's up here, and I see it every day, and I just like sit there and laugh. Like, I don't feel like I deserve a key to the city, but it's definitely like it'd be a fun fact, like two truths and a lie statement. I have a key to the town of Apex.
That's great. I don't know that I had ever gotten that part of the story. I think it was kind of like it spoke for itself, and that sort of thing. So very good stuff. Very good stuff. All right, man. I appreciate the time. Congrats on just like a great career. I sent you a text after the fact, like, dude, just hell of a run. I was really glad to see you have that outing like you did. To that was your last chance, right? That was your goodbye to college baseball, and I found it fitting that you performed so well. So you've been fun to watch, fun to cover, and best of luck in your trying to get to the next level. And I mean, look, it's going to happen. Somebody's going to take a shot, and it'll happen for you. So thanks again for the time. Best of luck, and stay in touch. Obviously, don't be a stranger.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I appreciate you having me on, and appreciate what you guys do to cover the ACC in college baseball.